Was he the one that was saying it was his jungle and I'm like, challenge accepted?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Completely out of context. What's going on, guys? We're back for another episode of the Greenwich Colonies. We thought Tiki was coming in. Tiki's sick. Now on YouTube, we cut these. It's 1 3-hour session, but actually it's 3 1-hour sessions because value. I'm literally, when it's not my turn, I'm organizing. Anywho, Ross, thanks for GMing. I should say thanks for GMing more than I say thanks for your money because this is a lot of work and improv food leaves you super drained after. You to man. Jason, thanks for all your sweet Texas stories and talking to the islands. Josh, thanks for being in my life once again. Levi, get that harmonica and put it in your salad and just poop, and battle mode is ready. And also thanks for hanging out and being cool. Now, Ross, take it away.
All right, where we last left off, you all had entered into the Temple of Abadar here in the Greenwich Isle in the Protectorate of Noctine in its capital city of Noctine. Kind of defeats the purpose, but oh well. And as you all have been talking with the High Priestess to set up a shrine for Shellin. Fantasy
Shaylin.
names.
I think it's
Shaylin.
pronounced. I know I say Shaylin all over my YouTube videos. I
Shaylin.
think it's pronounced. If Lindsay's correct in Kingmaker, Ross, if you're willing to cede that Lindsay was right about something, then it's Shellin.
Shellin it is. Man, screw Lindsay. She never does anything good for me. Literally, I dropped her as soon as I got Succubus Wizard, basically.
Succubus was Octavia?
Yeah.
Succubus! Alright, rambling.
It's a joke. But yeah. Yes, one of you guys had actually, well, two of you, but only one of the players is here, so one of you had actually stopped to talk to some of the members of Sarenrae. Faith, I believe that was UPK?
That was me.
Alright. What do you say to them?
Well, first off, do they acknowledge that I'm standing there?
Yeah, they do quite quickly. They go, "Hello, brother. Hello there, child. How may we help you?"
I'm kind of in an impasse in my life.
Oh. Well, you've certainly come to the right place to seek guidance.
So on the one hand, as you can probably tell by my appearance, I'm a barbarian whose animal totem is that of an ape. And I grew up not being allowed to embrace that side of my family. But on the other hand, I also have this part of me that wants to do great deeds and help people and went to boot camp and militia and to try to learn discipline, and that didn't work either. It's like I feel like I went to two extremes and neither one worked for me. And so far in the last couple of years, I've been doing mercenary work. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to find balance. And I heard that I've heard here and there that people that worship Sarenrae tend to know about that, finding balance.
I understand. Here, sit, my friend. This may be a chat that requires some time and some diligence. She kind of like gestures you over to like a sort of place with near the shrines that kind of have like tables and chairs and whatnot set up that some of the priests and other people are kind of staying in. It's kind of like just a place that it seems as though if you were injured or whatnot, they would lay you down on and kind of like treat your wounds. But she just sits down and like in a chair from a table, and you two kind of both sit down. So, from what I understand, you find yourself in an impasse between your two desires in life. To be true to yourself and to seek the honor and glory of a hero's life. Am I correct?
Yeah, there's the part of me inside me that's wild and barbarian and embraces my animal nature. But then there's the other side that wants to, be disciplined and, and help those in need and fight against evil and, and need to be disciplined to do that.
No, child, you don't. Fighting evil is not something that requires you to be a soldier. Fighting evil just means that you recognize when one is hurting another unjustly or is doing something wrong. You don't need to be disciplined in order to fight evil. You just need a strong moral code. And the sheer fact you are worried about this, child, definitely demonstrates that you do have the grounds that all heroes strive for. Discipline's good. Do not make it wrong, but you do not have to deny your true nature. If you're going to be fighting the denizens of the dark and doing these great deeds that you say, then my advice would be to be true to yourself. Use those impulses, those powers, that training you have as you see fit. You can only be a hero when you are true to yourself.
Pisskicker will nod and says, my family didn't have much use for me and my wilder side. The militia in the town I grew up in didn't have much use for me when it came to discipline, but perhaps a Renray had use of me.
She kind of just cups her hands around yours and says, child, you've always been in Serenray's grace. She wishes for everyone to have happy, honest lives. Do not feel as though you need to change yourself to make her happy. Just desiring to do good by others and to help those in need in of herself just makes her happy. Listen to me, child. If I were to give you my honest advice, it would be this. Do not care so much about what others think of you and your discipline and your methods. Let your results, let your actions speak louder than your words or your fighting style or anything of that nature ever could. You are more than just a soldier. You are you. You are a man. You may have bits of beast, you may have bits of soldier in you, but you are you.
Damn. Mic drop from Mr. Rosta's arm. Whoa. Well done.
Priests of Serenray
I'll rejoin.
are known for their honesty.
Yes, sir. Whew.
I'll nod and rejoin the rest of the group and thank her for her advice and rejoin the rest of the group.
Come again if you ever need more guidance, child. We will be more than happy to help you and your friends.
Free therapy. That's nice.
Yeah, that's not what I thought was happening on this session of the Greenwich Colonies, but good God. That was well done. That was legitimately well done. Whew. I feel a little more wholesome inside of me. So, Big Boy comes and joins us. I have the cleric of the druid of Erastil rather with me.
Kind of walks up to you. He kind of looks over to you, to your friends, and sees them all rejoin and says, "Hello. You all friends with this fine fellow here?"
I am.
Pleasure to meet you. The name's Moonclaw, he says, offering out a hand.
Elu wants to take in a handshake, even if it wasn't necessarily offered to Elu.
Oh, no, he will offer it to Elu.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a bending on his end, but he doesn't seem to do it out of ill will. He's just hello. Like one would shake hands with a halfling, more so or less.
Yeah.
So, I'm to understand that you all are friends of this man here, and you all have come to this isle for various different reasons, one of which involves a detestable group.
I'll take a quick look at Mirden. A significant glance at the phrase contemptible, detestable group.
Mirden will nod. Mirden will actually put 3 fingers up, hand pointing outward, and do this 3 times. That being the symbol of the 3 bloody claws.
Yeah, yeah.
As
that works
surreptitious
very
as a
well.
hand just this.
That would be true.
Well, do not worry, you're in kind company here. I am a member of the Elderberry Circle. I actively detest those individuals. I simply came in today to tend the shrines, and I seem to have come across your friend here. And he was telling me such wonderful stories about you all, including you, Mr. Piss Kicker?
That's what he calls himself. Lad, do you have an actual name? Is this what your mother named you? Did she, when you came out of her, when you were born, did you and your mother and your father, and they come together and they name you Piss Kicker? Of all the things. That can't be your real
Yeah.
name.
That's what they called me.
To be fair, people give me the same look when I tell them my name is Moonclaw, so I can understand his testament.
A fair point.
Like they explained to me later on, they said it's just a name that gets kicked around, and if someone like me gets named that, if they it seems to fit.
Fair enough. I earned my druid name when I first learned to turn into the form of a wolf and fully embrace my animalistic nature.
And I think my friend Pisskicker has a similar disposition. As I've told you, I've seen him in battle, though they don't form a proper shield wall. He turns into, you said it was an ape? Arms as big as his legs, punching through. Well, I haven't seen him punch through people yet, but I imagine if you can punch through living water, you can punch through a man.
He kind of like looks at you, Mirden, and then looks over to you, PK. Is this true?
Yes, it is. Something that my family didn't appreciate, and they let me know with a boot out the door, and I tried.
As you say that, the man looks as though he's about to spit, but then realizes where he is and doesn't do it. Do not worry, friend. He kind of then at this point grins, and you see very sharp, very canine-like teeth kind of underneath his mouth. You and I are alike in that regard.
You said you were looking for guidance, Pisskicker. Perhaps this man can help you. I don't know what you are. I don't know what an ape is, but what I do know is there are members of my order that can transform into beasts, transform into even as big as true dragons, though most of my training has been spent behind the throne. As I said, most of it has been spent not out in the field. Perhaps one day I will be able to do the same, but today it's just not the case, and if I were able to help you, I would do so. I think I need to defer to my betters on this one.
Let me ask you this one, friend. This transformation of yours, does it happen when you get very angry?
Yes, it's tied to my rage.
Ah, barbarian that follows an animal totem. Perhaps you were born into it, or you simply came across it without your knowledge.
No, I was born into it. It's in my family line. My parents didn't have it, but my grandfather had it.
Hmm.
And it's because my grandfather had it that my parents despised it. And when I was born and they saw that I had it, they named me what they named me, and then spent my childhood trying to get me to repress it. Even sending me to boot camp thinking that a life of discipline would wean it out of me, and it didn't work.
The man chuckles bitterly at the word discipline. Ah, yes, discipline, trying to control that which is natural. Well, I can respect Abadar and his priests. Controlling nature is not something he will ever accomplish.
It just simply doesn't work. You take a tiger, you put it... Oh, I don't know what a tiger is. I'm from Great Britain. You take a big cat and you put it in a cage, and you cease it being what it is, or you take a bear or a boar, and it still is that. Though you cage it, though you may cause it to not be able to hunt, though its muscles may in fact atrophy, it still is what it is, and to fight against that is to fight against yourself. I think you're only doing damage to you.
I thought I talked to Serenre's, the priestess Serenre, and they said the same thing. They said, "Be who you are." I was like, I want to find a balance. I appreciate, the discipline and of being able to do good, and focus on doing good, and how it helps me in battle when I'm not raging. But I don't want to deny, what I was born with either. I want to find a balance between the two and make both, work to the best of my ability so I can prove myself.
That's a fair point. I don't know what a Serenray is, but I'll take it it's one of the gods here. If you'd be
Goddess.
I see. Well, lad, if you'd be inclined, it's obvious that in your own way you hear nature's voice. Nature speaks to you. When you're angry, you channel something bigger than you are, and it keeps you alive. Though I don't quite understand it fully. Again, most of my time is spent in book learn, and I could help you to learn to listen.
As could I. I myself have similar inclinations. Before I became a druid, I was in a similar position you are. Now, you don't have to become a druid to fully understand the nature of your abilities, but coming to peace with yourself is something that would be advantageous. Here, I know a fellow in this town, in this city, that would be willing to allow me to show you what I mean. I imagine all this talk only does so much good for you.
Yeah, it's starting to give PK a little bit of a headache.
Well then, perhaps I can show you with fist and claw. If he kind of leans in, y'all can keep quiet about this.
Perception check. Uh-oh, I made a friend, and now that friend is sketchy. I've done a bad. I'm not used to looking on the left side of my sheet. A 18.
And a 14 for Bren.
Let me
Since
get my roll real quick. That's a 8 for me.
He doesn't seem to be actively doing anything illegal, more like he's about to let you guys in on a secret of his.
Okay.
It doesn't seem malevolent. There's certainly no malevolent intent behind it, more so it's a secret that he's about to let you all in.
Good enough for me. I'll keep it to myself.
As will I.
I'm not
Ex-
yet talking.
Excellent. Well then, I know an individual that would be willing to give us the necessary hand to make you feel a bit better about your abilities. Come, friend. With that, he'll start to head out of the temple.
And of course,
I'll
I'll follow.
He eventually leads you guys off the temple, down the path a bit northward as you guys are going, eventually turning off into the field of like the community fields in a direction. Eventually, you guys start to head towards a wheat field. And at one point, it seems like there's a bit of a path leading through it to which, well, Mirden and Bryn see it kind of without needing any rolls as they are more naturally inclined, but the rest of you guys don't see it until themselves starts to actively move through it. And then upon that point, it kind of becomes a bit more clear. It's like one of those you just have to have it pointed out to you sort of paths.
Like a game trail.
And eventually, yeah, a game trail, essentially.
Okay.
And as you guys kind of walk through the trail, you eventually come across a clearing in the middle of the field that seems to have been cut out, similar to that of a crop circle. And in the center, a half-orc, his face off with a cloth. Seems to be a very man. You see a few swords lining the ground around him, where he's just sort of panting a bit, and You think you see bits of broken wood lying around. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Kane, Moonclaw says as he steps into the clearing. The half-orc turns around. Oh, no problem, Moonclaw. It's been a while since I've seen you. Who are these folk?
Mirrodin will step forward and just... Mirrodin O'Brien, Druid of the Storm, at your service.
Oh, friend of yours, Moonclaw. Name's Kane. Most people just call me Mr. Kane. Kane's been my name for all I can remember.
Have we heard that name before? We have, haven't we?
This is the guy that brews the hero's beer and is
that's what
essentially
I
the
thought.
folk hero.
Is what
This is the folk hero of the city.
Yeah. Your reputation certainly precedes you.
In the distance, we hear a, "You! There you are!"
Give me your
Which we'll
beer!
get to when Tiki's next. When Tiki's next here.
Yeah,
We'll get to that conversation when Tiki's here.
dude.
Mr. Kane,
Hi,
intrigue.
pleasure to meet you, Bryn.
You as well.
That he kind of grips your hand, and Bryn, it actually hurts. Like he's not even trying, but it actually even hurts you.
I smile. Good grip.
Oh, sorry. I've been out here exercising a bit. As much as I can respect Abaddon's priests, they don't exactly allow for you to have access to sparring grounds easily.
And I introduce myself as Piss Kicker, and I shake his hand.
He keeps your grip. Like, what's your strength score?
My strength score is 18.
His grip is at the very least equal to yours, as you're kind of like, well, this guy is strong, as he just like shakes you heartedly. Well, then, pleasure to meet you, Mr. Pisker.
I see your grip is as strong as mine. Perhaps we might. And I tap my bicep basically like an arm wrestling contest. Like you might have to test that strength sometime.
Actually, Moonclaw kind of interjects, if we can get the introductions out of the way right quick. Quite the help to you, Mr. Pisskicker. Kane kind of like glances a look over to Moonclaw, but he kind of like nods, and Kane just shrugs a bit, and then turns to say hello to Elu, who just rejoined. To the little goblin folk. And what is your name, little one?
He is not
essentially
feeling
has
too
to-
well right now.
He has to get down on a knee to shake Elu's hand, as he's well over 6 feet tall. Just like,
Nice.
yeah, like if you all were to guess, he's more orc than he is human. Like we're looking at like a 3/4 orc, 1/4 human, sort of half orc.
Hmm.
No, I do have a 16 strength, so I'm not too far behind his.
Oh no, but it's still a strong grip. Like this is very clearly like this guy just has enough human in him to get over the orcish, sort of like all the negatives of the orcish, but still more than enough orcish to make him. So, how can I help you all? If Moonclaw seems to have brought you out here, then I guess he's had some sort of intention of you all seeing me spar, or spar with him, or spar with you all.
Mirrodin is just gonna 100% defer to Piss Kicker on this one.
All right. He'll kind of look over to Piss Kicker. And
Well, I told Moonclaw most of what I was going to say. Basically, I'm looking for guidance. I want to find a way to balance the wildness in me being a barbarian and having this animal totem from birth and desire I have for discipline to allow me to do good in the world and fight evil. I'm trying to find balance between the two.
he says, kind of like walking over to, like, as you've been saying, he's kind of like walking over to a pile of stuff where he seemingly out of nowhere, pulls out a keg and starts to pour himself what it looks to be a mug of ale. Ah, you came to the right person then. I'm the one that taught Moonclaw well. I didn't teach him the druid stuff, but I did teach him the fighting, and I did teach him some self-control, says as he chugs the beer all down in one gulp. I'm a follower of Caden, if you couldn't guess, by my love of alcoholism and fighting. But, so I know a thing or two about losing control of yourself quite easily. You need to make sure that you don't become too lost in the drink that you can't enjoy the rest of the natures of life. He says kind of as he puts the mug down on top of the keg.
Well, I don't follow any god, although I did talk to the priestess of Renray, and their advice was very helpful.
Sir Renray's got good-hearted followers, especially here in the city. I respect her as much as I respect her priests. But if you're looking for someone, he kind of says, like, as he stretches his shoulders a bit, if you're looking for someone that you can maybe let out a bit more of your physical worries on, well then, I'm your guy.
Not sure what you mean by that.
Oh, come now. I can tell that you are a bit of an animal inside, and you probably don't feel like you have much control over yourself, do you not? You're asking for discipline? Well then, at this he kind of,
Would you like to see my wilder side, and see what you're dealing with?
he quickly kicks up two short swords from the ground underneath him into his hand. They're still in their sheaths, but he does hold them in a way as if he were adapting a fighting stance before pointing the one at his left hand in you and just kind of like, well then, come on.
I won't need that. And I start raging so that way he can see my 8 fist.
All right, then he automatically allows you to go first in the initiative, so let's go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't going to fight him. I was just going to show him what I look like when I'm raging.
All right, then. He kind of just like says, all right, you got the look. Come at me.
Sure, okay.
And now here in this nice, private, safe setting, we're going to see if that, if rage is good now in 1/6. In a world where Josh won't get killed. Or maybe.
Yeah. And the Elu has lots and lots and lots of healing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he
this
did
is a
that
cleric.
before.
And this is a cleric, so he also has a good amount of healing on him.
Sweet.
That's true. He might have,
No,
he could possibly have
I rolled a 7 for initiative.
Okay. Well, he's letting you go. He's letting you go
lets
first
you go
automatically.
first.
So.
Like he's taking 1 for his initiative.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll roll for attack.
Go on ahead.
Yeah, 8 fist.
Mm.
Oh, well, that's a 10.
That misses, unfortunately. As he just kind of sidesteps the strike and says, just because you're an animal doesn't mean that you can just throw your limbs around. Go ahead and continue on with your actions.
Well, that was it. It was swing at him and move towards him, then swing at him.
Enrage, okay.
Yeah.
He just takes a 5-foot step back. Just because you're in your animal form does not mean you lose control or grasp of your humanity. Your turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna squint my eyes a little bit, and now I'm really focusing,
right.
Because he my attack missed so easily. 14.
That misses. As you kind of swing for his chest, only for him to kind of actually flip the short sword, grab it by the blade, and just kind of use the hilt to knock your hand away. You need to be aware of your surroundings and your enemies.
Yeah, I'll try again. Now I'm starting to or I should be checking for rage, shouldn't I?
At the end of the turn.
The first rage is literally a DC of 0, so you're good.
Okay, so now I need to check for the...
You still have another action. Because you didn't need to spend an action to attack this time. It's just one action to move towards him, and then another action to attack.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did that. I 5-footed towards him and then attacked.
So in the
You still have
playtest,
one more.
playtest, you have 3 actions. You stepped once, and then you struck once, and now you have a third action with which you could do other stuff.
Or another strike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll roll again.
Which is with a -5 on it.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 9.
That's a 9.
Yeah, because 14 minus
As you
5.
kind of like just like as your fist miss, you kind of like swing wildly around as if to elbow him with your left side. But as you swing, he just seemingly like kicks your feet out from underneath you and you fall prone. Don't open yourself up. Animals have a nature in which they fight. It's not just all wild flailing about. And then he goes to his turn.
But now, Josh,
And then
we
it goes
need
to
make
your
a-
turn.
Josh, we need to make a flat check now.
Yeah.
DC 5,
Yep.
so it's just D20 plus nothing. Don't roll 1 through 4. Okay.
Yep.
2
You are
rounds of
still in
rage.
rage. He did not back away, by the way, so all you need to do is just spend an action to stand up. And then you can
I'm
go to town on
actually
him.
going to, like, get into, like, the stance than an ape would.
That's more like it.
And I'm gonna try to. He's 5 feet away?
Yeah, he's within reach of you.
Okay, I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to grapple his legs.
All right.
So that's an athletics check over his fortitude DC.
It's a 10 again
Ah, rough.
because I have proficiency 3, but then I have a -3 from my armor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. No, that doesn't work. As he just kind of like you try to grapple him, but he just like puts his hand. He just kind of like tosses one of the swords up and with one hand just pushes you off of him. All right, that's a start. Now you're starting to think a little bit more like your animal actively would. Your instincts are not to be denied. They are valuable. You still have one more action. I don't think grapple is 2 actions.
It's not. 1 action with
No,
the
it's
attack
just one
trait.
action. So you still have another attack, but that would take a -5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to. I'm gonna beat my chest like just like I'm embracing it. Like I'm doing what he said. He said I need to embrace it, so
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna like do that, like thinking like that, like I'm gonna get him next time. Just start getting angry.
All right. Then if it's your end of your turn, he's going to just kind of stare you up and say, "All right, now you're getting the feel of it."
But first, Josh has
To
to
which
make a
Moonclaw-
DC 10 flat check
Yeah.
to see if he remains raging into the 3rd round. Or rather,
Okay.
raging post, because now this is the end of the 3rd round, and he would be fatigued. And he is.
And you are fatigued as you kind of like, just as you start getting to the heat of it, a wave of just like drain hits you and you kind of collapse down. You are fatigued for the round. So if you want to just like kind of catch a breather, that's what I would advise.
Yeah.
There. Come. Take your time. Fighting in that sort of way takes a lot of energy out of a man. He says, kind of looking you over. Breathe. Here, straighten your back. He kind of like helps you kind of straighten up so that way you're breathing a bit better as you're kind of saying there, gain your breath. Sometimes it's in your best interest to continue fighting even in this state, but most times it's probably best to trust in your allies to come to your aid. Otherwise, you'll only end up making yourself weaker. Understand? Trust in your teammates. Just as you trust in your instinct. Are we good? He says, kind of like kneeling
Yeah.
down to face you in the eyes as you kind of like catch your breath.
I nod as I'm chanting. I nod at him.
Good. He kind of just like pats you on the shoulder a bit, stands up, looks to the rest of you all. There. That's a bit of a physical demonstration of how an animal totem barbarian starts to learn how to truly understand themselves.
Well, how do you feel, lad?
I feel like you know, a lot of respect because I mean I hit nothing but air, you know, and but like I definitely feel like the student before the master right now.
Does that feel more like balance to you?
I feel like I'm embracing I'm embracing this part of me really for the first time. It's not just a neat trick. Like I'm starting to feel like it's not just a trick. It's a part of me I really need to understand.
Caden grins at that and nods like that is the correct answer. Sort of that very affirmative nod.
I would agree. Each and every one of us has something inside of us that we need to understand. For example, as I told Bren and Elu, you and Bowser were deep in your casks of drink as you're wont to do. My family has for generations served the House of the Priamaires, and through it, and Mirden will snap his fingers, I cast Shocking Grasp. And no, I don't. I cast something that's not a
Lightning
resource,
Arc.
because druids are everywhere. I cast Lightning Arc and let the, like, kind of, like, have the, like, baby will-o-wisp of lightning and just, like, play with it through my fingers, let it bounce over here. Almost like to be the Globetrotter, and then snap again, and it goes away. And through training, through time, through practice, one can master it. That's not to say when I was much younger than I am today, I didn't, in times of duress, accidentally shock a man who might have turned the corner and scared me. It's a long road, but it's a road that's worth walking. And if you ever need anyone to talk to, of course, I imagine the rest of us, as Bowser was wont to say about his non-blood family and his family of drink, we're all here to help you through it.
Friend,
It's kind of there's kind of a somber moment before Kane just kind of chuckles a bit and says, "Oh, Druid, the only one that could do that sort of trick," as he kind of plays with a bit of what looks to be holy fire between his fingers, just kind of like flicking around before throwing it into a pipe and using it to light the pipe to where he begins to take a light from it.
See, exactly. He's got powers too. He learned how to master them, and now he makes fancy ale. And other heroic things as well. Now, while we have you three, and Mirden will pull out the bounties, can you tell us more about...
3?
It was 3, yeah. Was it not?
Moonclaw and Kane.
No, the 3 bounties. The 3, like...
Oh, the 3 bounties!
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Sorry.
Just
Understood.
Just set him down on the ground. Can you tell us more about what's going on here? There's not a lot of information to go on.
Kane kind of firmly, it's like putting on like his clothes, kind of like he's been done for sparring, so he's been like getting cleaned up and whatnot. Puts the pipe in his mouth, kind of grabs a few of them and says, "Moonclaw, you know this one better." And he kind of hands Moonclaw one of them before he kind of like starts looking over the other 2. Moonclaw looks at the one in front of him and says, "Ah, yes, this beast. I would be dealing with him myself if it wasn't for the fact that I'm on shrine duty. Someone needs to make sure that our temples of place of worship are watched after appropriately."
What exactly is it?
You're looking at a reptilian beast, rather large in size with an extremely powerful jaw. The main reason why it's concerning to us is it looks at first like a large crocodile or a large alligator, if you would, a very large lizard. But the most concerning part of it is it's colored kind of yellow on certain parts of it. Its claws seem to be able to manifest electricity, and as it kind of yells, it can almost breathe electricity out.
nature.
Oh, same. Mine is an 11. Haha. I lose.
You've heard of large reptiles before, and breathing electricity is something you would know that some dragons were able to do. Maybe this is some sort of draconic creature? Bren, that's about what you get to.
So we're hunting something with a little bit of dragon blood. Is that how I'm taking this?
Sounds
Potentially,
that way
it
toward-
could be. We're not entirely certain. This is the first of its kind we've seen. It's more so towards the city of, or towards the town of Leswan, to the northeast of here. It's been seen in sort of the rivers that feed into the seas in that area. We're not certain if it's a new species or some sort of mutation. Magic around here seems to be as active as the people are, and at times just randomly likes to create these sort of things out of regular creatures.
A fair point. Okay, how far is that from here?
To get to the last one, you're looking at a day's travel if you were to leave in the morning. And they have a hotel. They do have a inn there, last I checked, so you would be able to get housing there for a reasonable price. As for where the beast is, it's within the proximity of the town. I myself would not know. We've put this flyer together and started looking for people to take care of it at the bequest of the local government, so they would probably know more if you were to go and talk to them in person.
Of course, I imagine you go where all the birds are being electrocuted to death and eaten by lizards, and the rest will solve itself.
Fair?
Do you know
That's a
anything
fair
about
point.
the other two?
I remember this one, King says as he looks at the goblins. It was a real mess of everything. Came into town, was a crate, a couple of goblin workers on the ship that at first nobody really seemed to care about until until the ship's captain kind of got done with some paperwork and noticed that he never hired any goblins to begin with. Next thing you know, several guards find themselves getting burned by alchemist fire as a group of goblins make off with a large amount of military gear. Bandits aren't exactly a common problem around here, but perhaps those goblins were looking to change that. Figure the easy pickings, I guess. As for the schoolfly one, he kind of looks over to it, looks at Moonclaw. He kind of looks at Moonclaw to where Moonclaw says, "We believe this to be handiwork of the blood circle, the blood druids. These creatures are parasitic in nature. They at first look like similar houseflies, but en masse, they will actively force themselves inside a humanoid creature into their brain and forcibly take it over, turning the cranial cavity into nothing more than spawning ground for its young, slowly turning the people it invests into shambling ghosts of their former selves. Most likely there's some sort of hive built with a queen somewhere in the building with the various bugs using the former members of the farmstead as sort of guards. Simply put, you'll need to go kill the guards, burn the hive and the guards."
Are they still of this world? The people that the bugs get inside.
From what I've understood, those that are well trained with healing in our order, as well as those of Sarenrae's blessing, cannot reverse the effects of these things. It seems as though by the time of which symptoms are noticed, there's already enough damage to the brain that it can be cured by regular magic.
So I imagine we're talking some sort of undead.
That's the thing. They ain't undead. It's just their brain's been damaged to the point of which they are not able to function if the bugs are gone.
And how would we protect ourselves from such creatures? Like, because if we go in there, what's to say they don't do the same thing to us? Like, how would we protect ourselves?
It tends to be that while the bugs themselves fly into the orifices, they can't really make it through your nose or through your mouth. After all, you have things like mucus and saliva, teeth, other things of that nature stopping them. The only one you need to be really worried about is, once again, the guards. If they cut you enough, they might try and force the bugs into your bloodstream, and then that becomes an issue. But even then, they can be fought off. If a man of enough fortitude is attacked by them, often his body can reject the flies. It's often the flies are delivered along with, say, a flu or some other natural sickness that already weakens the body. It's not invulnerable. In fact, naturally, a human person is able to resist the flies 9 out of 10 times, from what I understand. But if you're sick before you go in to fight the flies, then that number significantly drops.
Makes sense.
Have I ever heard of these things or their weaknesses?
But the 22, you've never heard of these things. These things are nothing you've ever heard of. But from what you're gathering, fire probably is going to be effective on them. Definitely. Another thing that's probably going to be effective, the more you think of it, is a poison. Because that would kill off a large amount of them. Like if you were to spray, like cause poison to flow into the bloodstream of the people doing it, then that would kill off a large amount of them because they're still living creatures. So and that could kill, you need significantly less poison to get a large amount of bugs to die.
They sound a little aberrant. Here's a nature check, so that's a 21. Might that be accurate?
These could potentially be aberrant with that sort of roll, yes.
Okay, so as we're talking about this, we're in like a cleared off crop circle, right?
Yeah. Like you guys are well away from other people.
What kind of crop?
Yeah, the UFO's parked to the left.
Oh, gotcha. What kind of crop?
It looks like wheat.
Wheat. Okay.
It's like above even it's even taller than cane, and cane's like 6'6".
Great, that's all I needed to hear. So when we're talking about it, and Mirden puts it two and two together that's what we're fighting. He's going to make his way. Actually, he's going to make his way over to the core rule book and make sure that he understands how this spell works before I commit to this. But most likely, assuming I haven't just botched it horribly, Mirden is going to take it's not wooden. I'm hoping it works about the same for the purpose of casting Shillelagh. And hopefully there's a staff-sized bit of wheat that I could target.
What does Shillelagh do?
It's normally its target is a non-magical club or staff, but both of those can be collected from a tree. Like you could literally just go grab a branch and you have a club, right? And it turns it gives it basically I would get a +1 staff. And as long as I'm on my home plane, attacks I make against aberrations, extraplanar creatures would have been really good against the elementals actually. And undead deal a third die. So I'd have a 3d8 staff basically. For one.
Unfortunately the wheat does not work to give you a Shillelagh.
Okay.
It's 2. Even with channeling nature magic into it, it's still too fragile.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, Mirden will be looking for the biggest stick between here and there. Well, it sounds like we've got our ducks in a row here. If it were up to me, we could go attack the Bloodleaf now, in terms of their fly monsters, mind. But I worry that we may not quite be ready for it. I worry that we may be just walking to our deaths. Perhaps the bit of your kind, Elu. Perhaps we should go speak with them. Despite my not understanding what anything is out here, I can be pretty persuasive when I need to be. We don't necessarily need to go a-killing.
That didn't work properly. But I'd rather see why they did what they did.
Makes sense. Ask some questions, figure it out, perhaps make some more friends. If we're attacking the most powerful force on the island, frankly, I think it'd be best if we have as many people behind us as we go running headlong to our deaths.
That's not exactly what I have planned.
Of course.
Goblins is lemmings.
Well, that's offensive. That's Elu. Don't listen to him. He doesn't understand. He's an ape.
Hey.
Does anyone know where the goblins are camping?
I think they escaped somewhere around the northeastern parts of the wall. Perhaps you'd be able to find some tracks or something of that nature around there.
A fair point.
I can definitely look for such.
And I'm guessing we can find the a swarm of aberrant fly monsters by heading due northwest.
I'm not certain if they're aberrant, but they do. Their nature is alien to the local aliens, to the local aliens, to the local bugs. Even for the magic, the wild magic that flows throughout this isle.
Fair point. But where would we find them?
The farmstead, from what I understand, is located about due west from the city, nonetheless.
Fair enough. Well, so be it then. If it were up to me, I say we head back to that tavern. We call it a night. If there's any shopping anyone needs to do, I do still have 50 silver pieces that I really don't have a use for. First thing,
And I have 3 gold if anyone needs it,
so we've got 3.5 gold pieces.
or 5 gold if anyone needs it. In fact, I'll just hand over my 5 gold to Mirrodin and say, perhaps if we have money, for the group, here's my 5 gold. In case we need to buy something bigger and we need to put our resources together.
A fair point. Regardless, I say we head back from whence we came. We sleep it off for the night, and first thing in the morning we head out towards the wall, try to find these goblins.
Sounds like a wonderful plan, you lot, Kane says, as he kind of picking up the last bit of his stuff.
I will try not to offend Elu ever again.
Well, Moonclaw, I expect you're heading back to the circle. I'll probably stop by to visit Rickjaw before we're heading out. Last I checked, since today's farm day, he's probably making that excellent chowder of his.
We should do the same.
Tell the old
You guys
coot I
haven't
said
met
hello.
Rickjaw. Do you know? I assume you know what a knoll is. I didn't know what a knoll was, but I've met a knoll now. Quite fascinating creature.
Kane just kind of gives you a sideways look, and Moon says, "He's not from around here."
I'm not from this part of the world, no.
Okay then, Kane says. Well then, I have some work I have to go take care of. I unfortunately have a meeting because apparently the auditor decided now he needs to start charting everyone's worship patterns. Ugh.
You're also kind of old.
Very well, as much as I detest the auditor, I must admit he's a genius when it comes to running this city.
Hasn't fallen to evil magic yet, so that's a fair point, I suppose. Anywho.
Make no mistake, the man is evil. The man is doing this for his own gain, but at the same time, he follows his own code and seeks to grow civilization. How he wants it to grow, yes, but seeks to grow it.
Balance in all things. Balance. Mirrodin almost mantras to himself, so he doesn't freak out about the encroaching of nature. Well, unless anybody else had anything to add, I figure that's as good a stopping place as any.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to all my friends for coming and hanging out. Thanks to you guys on Twitch. I'm super hungry. I'm going to go find some food if you're watching on YouTube. Well, no matter where you're watching, be sure to subscribe for more sweet content. We'll see you next time. See you, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.